Welcome to the Goldfinger Minute, where every man has a story to tell and a reason to come to the Philippines. So stay tuned for some amazing stories.
Okay, hello everybody. It's Goldfinger for the Goldfinger Minute. Today I have Al with me, and I just met Al a few minutes ago. And we got a cup of coffee, and I says, "You want to jump in the studio and do a recording?" He goes, "Sure." So I don't know a whole lot other than he came from Hawaii. Hello, Al. Welcome.
Hello.
And he started talking about what he did in Hawaii. And go ahead and tell us again what you did.
I was a bum.
Yeah.
So, I was in IT for 27 years, and then I moved there. Actually, I came to Hawaii for a month, and then I had was like, this place is amazing, and it was a good point because I just left my last job, and I had a good amount of income, so I figured, well, let me move there, and then I told myself, well, I got to get a job. And I found a little IT job for a small company, and that wasn't a good fit for me. So I ended up quitting that and was basically a bum for about a year. And then started going, well, I'm not making as much money as I need to be because it is expensive in Hawaii. And I've been slow
Hawaii's
traveling.
pretty pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I watch too many slow travel videos, and I've been slow traveling for the last 9 months.
Where did you slow travel to?
I started in Japan.
Okay.
I went.
That's not cheap either, is it?
It's not bad compared to Hawaii.
Okay.
It was kind of
compared to Hawaii, yeah. But
yeah. Everything's cheap compared to Hawaii, but
pretty much, except for New York.
Yeah. But it's I don't know. It was nice. I mean, the food was good, and I met somebody there, and she's bilingual, and so then she did all the translations, and she lived there, so she was a good tour guide to have, and then.
Was she strictly a tour guide?
Yeah, no.
I'm
not going to hire a tour guide. I'm cheap, dude.
Okay. So she was a girlfriend.
Yeah.
A temp. All right. I didn't even know they had that in Japan. I guess they do.
Yeah, well, when you're 50, well, I was 53 at the time, and she wasn't young either, but she was still single, and they got it's kind of a weird thing. If women over 25, they call them ice cream, or Christmas cake. And because they're not married and they're on severe discount. It's a really weird thing. Her dad told me about it. It was really wild because they should be married by 25. So
if they're not married by 25, what's the problem? Why didn't they get married? They didn't want to, or
there's no telling. Wrong guy, not enough money.
And they call them Christmas cake.
Yeah, because Christmas cake's a big deal in Japan, and which is on the 25th, so 25, and then after Christmas happens, Christmas cake goes on sale pretty significantly. It's really wild. And her dad told me this. That's the funny
her
thing.
own dad. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And it was, but I don't know. It was good for a while. But she did go to college in the U.S., which made her just fluent in English. But then it also gave her a little bit of the Karenitis, and that's probably why she wasn't married.
Well, being bilingual, did she only know the two languages? Japanese and American, or did she know others? She
knew parts of others, but way more than me. I mean, I speak English, and I can swear in a bunch of languages, but that's usually the only thing we learn. So,
and she and her job is to guide you. She's a professional guide for foreigners. No, what is
no,
she?
I just met her at an expat thing. She works. Her family has a peach farm. I think it's peach or pear. I think it was peach.
God, their fruit in Japan is so much better.
Yeah, it's way expensive, though.
Is it?
Yeah, and they do handle it with those little, what do you call it? They're like protective balls for everything. Like in the U.S., it's just throw it in the bag, or whatever.
They cuddle their fruit and package it.
Yeah.
Nicely, and it doesn't get bruised or anything.
Yeah, and it's really good. And it's.
I know. I've gotten some Asian pears. I've gotten some oranges that came in from Japan. I've gotten some apples. They're way better.
Yeah.
They're sweeter. They're fresher. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah. It's whatever it is, it works.
Yeah. All right, cool. And she was what age again?
She was 43.
43. I mean, move this.
So she was on discount pretty good. But it was good for a little while.
So, and she was... I don't want to get too personal. What was her name? That's personal.
It was Leah Lay.
Leah Lay?
Yeah, I just call her Leah.
Leah, okay.
But
Did Leah How long were you with her? Well, how long was she
Just
showing you
3
around?
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Did she spend nights with you at the hotel, or did she
course.
go home?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a little kind of amazed because I thought Japanese were very, I'm going to use the right word for it, but very refined, very,
Yeah, not as much as you think. I mean,
really.
people are more alike than they're different everywhere you go, and there's a public persona. And I mean, if you're talking to a 23-year-old, yeah, you got to work a lot harder. But you know, we're all adults, so it's you know, it's kind
I know
of
it's a new age. I grew up, of course, in a time when they still talked about you don't marry a girl unless she's a virgin. If she wasn't a virgin, she was a whore.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember my dad talking about it, that nobody got married if she wasn't a virgin.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just the way things have changed so much
Yeah.
in the U.S. I guess it's progressive, but you don't want a virgin anymore. To be honest with you.
Opinions vary.
Yeah. But,
If you found one, you'd be like, wait,
but
what?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising because I thought it was. I'm trying to think of the right word, but I thought they were very.
Conservative, yeah.
Yeah, very conservative. Okay, yeah, conservative is a good word for it.
Somewhat. She, to be honest with you, she was spoiled, and her parents spoiled her. And
Is she good looking? Really pretty?
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought she was. And
What was her job that she had? Oh, working at the farm?
yeah, well, that, and she would work. She'd work for her dad, and then she'd work like at another place for a little while, and then she wouldn't like that, so then she'd go back to work for her dad. So she's spoiled.
Spoiled. Okay.
And that kind of came out a little bit
And
later.
I'm just
so.
curious now. Did you have to give her money to spend with you and
No.
take?
No.
You didn't give her any money at all?
No. I mean, I paid for dinner because I'm a guy. And that's what
Yeah,
guys
you paid
do,
for
but-
everything, but
Yeah, no, I didn't. Actually, when we broke up, we went to Osaka and Kyoto, and then I had we went up Mount Hay. I don't remember how to say it.
Okay.
But I used to like to hike a lot in Hawaii, and we went up there. I went to the top. She took the cable car, and then when we got back, I was like, you know what? I need a nap. And she goes, okay, I'm going to go do laundry. And I said, can you do my laundry? And then I'm not going to do your laundry. And then I was sitting there thinking, wait, I paid for every meal you've eaten, every bed you've slept in,
She's
everything.
spoiled.
And
she's a princess.
yeah, and then so I sent her back on the bullet train back to Tokyo. And
So there was no parting gift or money.
no, I don't. I've never paid directly for it. Indirectly, I don't want to talk about that math. So
Okay, what other countries?
then I went to South Korea.
Okay.
I only was there for a month. I was a month in Seoul. I was going to do a month in Seoul and a month in Busan. And then it got cold, and I actually had to buy a coat, which I hadn't owned a coat in about 3 years. And I went, screw this. So I went down to Thailand and went there for 2 months, and a month in Bangkok and a month in Jantiem, which is south of Pattaya, which
Oh, okay. Oh, John Tim. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there. Yeah.
yeah, it was a little much for me. It's a little bit too seedy. I know you're a Vegas guy, so too seedy doesn't apply. But
John
for
Tim
me-
was?
yeah.
Really?
And,
Oh,
yeah,
I
thought
didn't
it
see that
was.
part of it. Other than if you go out of the town and you go to where the walking street is.
Yeah.
But that's not John Tiem.
No. Well, they do have a walking street in Jantiem. It's
They do. Oh.
Yeah, it's not for straight people though. So
Okay.
it's
There's a lot of ladyboys
Yeah.
in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Okay. There's some here, but there's a lot more there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Vietnam at all?
Vietnam. I didn't see any. Usually I can spot them.
No, I just wanted to know if you went to Vietnam.
Yeah, I went to Vietnam.
How long did you spend in Vietnam?
2 months again.
And did you like it?
Yeah, Vietnam was probably one of my favorites. Actually, I was in Ho Chi Minh, and I was in District 9 or 8. I think it was 9, and it was nice. Where I was at was a upper class area, and it was just an Airbnb, and it was cheap. Everything's so cheap over
Yeah.
there.
I stayed in District 4 just outside of the downtown
Yeah.
area in Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
Spent, I think, 8 days or 9 days there.
Oh, nice.
Not just a month or two ago. So
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I
Ho
like
Chi
it a
Minh's
lot.
not the best city to spend a lot of time in.
No, it's not.
There's better tourist areas, but it doesn't matter. But I liked it. It's very cheap.
Yeah.
They're very friendly, and the food was much better than you're going to be say in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Thailand's better. Just about everywhere's better,
Yeah.
other than Mexico. Mexico would hear about the same.
Yeah, it's they're on par. I agree with you there about Vietnam was so nice and it was cheap.
It was very nice, very cheap. Have you
everybody
considered
was
living
nice.
there, or is it the language barrier?
Language barrier is a rough one.
Yeah.
Man. You nailed that on the
Yeah,
head.
I know. They ain't speaking no English.
Yeah, well, they will, or they'll try. But I mean, I use Google Translate just way too much. And when I got up to Da Nang, so I did a month in Da Nang, right near the beach. Da Nang's beautiful. I really enjoyed.
Yes, Da Nang is very beautiful.
So,
Beautiful beaches.
yeah,
Yeah, I missed going to Da Nang and a couple others.
yeah,
I can't remember the names right offhand. There's one just outside of Ho Chi Minh, which you could take a train to. I can't think of the name at the moment, but there are some nice places to go to.
I took the overnight train from Ho Chi Minh to Da Nang, and it was a really neat experience. You saw the countryside. I wouldn't do it again, but
Because why?
it was rough.
The train ride was rough?
Yeah, it's 18 hours, and
They give you a room with a bed, right? Or
sort of. I mean, it's old school train.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mentioned I was cheap. I wasn't kidding. It was one step above the chairs in the front, and there were some people that were fine with that. That they're just like, okay, give me a chair for 18 hours, and we'll go on the train. But
Oh,
it was-
18 hours sitting in a chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if it's cushioned or not. No,
Yeah.
that ain't happening.
No, but
All right.
the bed was. I mean, it was a typical bed in Asia.
But everything was,
It's like-
my hotel was cheap. My food was cheap. Everything there was so cheap.
yeah.
I made a mistake. I went to the bank and I pulled out, I had American money with me. I had $100 bills. So I pulled out $600 and I said, I need some. You're laughing. I'm looking at, what is all that? She says, that's your $600. I said, there's millions and millions there. I'm like, what the hell? She goes, because you said you wanted some change. It was like a pile this thick with millions on top. And I'm going, oh, how much is it? It was like 17, 18 million
Oh, yeah.
dong. And I go, how expensive is a meal here? It's like 50 dong or less.
Yeah.
I'm going, oh, I made a big mistake for 8 or 9 days. I brought back millions. I brought back. I never spent any of the millions. I always spent the change.
Yeah, yeah.
All the millions I brought back that
Yeah.
she had, which was like eight of them, I think, 8 to
Yeah.
10 of them. I don't know. It was a lot. And I just gave it to my friend because he was going. So I said, I don't know what this is, but it wasn't a fortune.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's they get, because I talked to some locals. I met some locals over there, and they're a lot of them. Like I paid 11 million dong, which is $400, for a month rent at a
11
hotel.
million dong for a month's rent. Okay.
Yeah, and they said that was too much because most of them are doing like 4 or 5 million dong a month. So we're
Yeah.
saying that, but
I had a room not in a hotel, I had an apartment, a whole apartment.
Yeah.
Bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchens, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, first class, king size bed, big screen TV. I don't watch TV, but they had a full walk-in kitchen
Nice.
with pots, pans, dishes, everything you need. With all the cooking utensils. I never cooked, but coffee service, and I just was incredible. And I think I only paid like $20 a night.
yeah,
It's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to, even LA is be over 100. Even here, there's places that are $100 that's not as nice as this.
Yep.
Like, and it's been a long time, but this is part to what I, like 10 years ago when I was in New York, this would be 350, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I had to imagine what it is today, but
yeah, it'd be thousands. At least
yeah,
$1,000.
it's got to be a $700 to $1,000 room. It's
Yeah.
$20
Yeah,
a night.
geez. That's
Apartment.
That's Vietnam, man.
It was quiet, and they had a full restaurant downstairs. I could go downstairs, and I could even call them and have them bring food up, or I could just go down and sit in the restaurant and have food, and the food was ridiculous. It was good, healthy food, good food, and cheap.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And made fresh.
yeah. That was amazing that I found the Vietnamese food. Another thing that I do is I'll order. I started this in Japan. Is I would order at a place that doesn't have English menus, and I would just point, and I would eat whatever they brought me, and except for one time, I was never disappointed. It was always excellent.
Yeah.
And this bad part is I probably should have kept track of what I was eating so I would know what it was.
Yeah.
Because it's like some of the stuff. I had something in I almost said Cebulian. That's where I'm staying. In Japan, it was really good. I don't remember what it was called. It was like beef innards something.
Okay.
And I found this out afterwards using Google Translate. And,
It's an innards.
but it was really good. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I
that's,
want that again.
Yeah, I want that again. I don't know what they call it, but it was some kind of beef innards shank or something. I just
Awesome.
pointed at something, and it was good.
I know. I didn't have a bad meal there,
Yeah.
and too much food. Honestly,
Yeah.
I pick a couple things out, and they bring it to me, and I'm looking at this big bowls of shrimp and fish and vegetables. I said I want some fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
Big bowls, and I'm like, look at that, and then they kept bringing food, and I'm going, did I order all that? I'm not gonna be able to eat all that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a shame.
Yeah.
And what was it? Maybe $2?
That's
And enough for 3 people.
oh
$2?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
absurd.
Vietnam, you're just you're living like a king.
I
It
know.
really is. You're just
I got to go back.
Yeah.
I missed so much. Okay, this time I want to go to Da Nang and a few other places. But
yeah. Da Nang, Hoi An. I went to Hoi An for one evening, and then it was funny because I was everybody said, "Oh, just take the bus down there. Take the bus down there." And okay, I did. And then the next day, I kind of screwed up. I stayed a little bit too late, and the next day, and then I ended up taking a Grab back, and I heard, "Oh, that's very expensive," and it was like $16.
no, I hired a taxi cab. I saw a taxi cab. He was sitting around having some coffee, and I said, "Are you for hire?" And I also knew how to use my Google Translate. And he goes, "Yeah." I says, "For the day?" "Yeah." I said, "How much for the whole day?" "I want you to take me downtown, show me sights, and just whatever you think of the countryside, just drive around for the day.
Yeah.
And different places, and I'll stop and take pictures, okay?"
Nice.
Yeah, the whole day. Now, what did he charge me? I think he wasn't $1 million pesos. It was less than that. It was like 200,000 or 300,000 for the whole day. His gas, his car.
Yep, the whole day.
It's a couple 100,000 pesos. Now, what is that? That's
A couple 100,000 dong. Yeah.
yeah. So it's 27,000 dong to the something like that, roughly to the
$10.
Yeah. I'm trying to calculate in my head. I'm going, something's wrong. I gave him a tip too. I think I gave him 100,000. He was shocked.
Yeah.
But what's 100,000?
Yeah.
And all their money is zeros. Everything
Yeah.
has so many zeros. And I'm trying to count the zeros because I noticed they didn't have commas.
No.
So it either has 6 zeros, 5 zeros, 4 zeros, 3 zeros. And it's like, you got to count the zeros. And they all, even though money's different size and slightly different color,
Yeah.
you can't figure out what it is. A 10,000 could be 100,000.
Yeah.
100,000 could be $1 million.
Yep.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's Vietnam. I tried to pay 20. I was trying to give them 200,000 for something that was 20,000, and the lady just kind of laughs and rolls her eyes and gives me one of them back. And
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
They were very honest.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my wallet and I'm handing her 100,000 when it's supposed to have been 10,000 for a bag of fruit.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm giving her 100,000. She's like, no. She looks at my wallet. She says, no, this one. And I'm like, what's the difference? Oh, a zero.
Yeah.
It's a zero. There's 1 0 difference. Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw some gorgeous artwork. Oh, I really want it. I'm so bad I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
So they went to the downtown shopping in Ho Chi Minh. Did you go inside the marketplace? That
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
building.
That-
And in there, they had a lady with furniture on the back wall, and she had on the wall panels, 4 panels.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a scene, but they were in 4 separate, so you could spread them apart a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was all in shell with paint. I mean, it looked like something you should see in a museum. It shouldn't be on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay? And I hired a girl to take me around to nothing personal, just hired her. She'd
Yeah.
show up each day and take me around to translate and everything. And so I'm saying, how much is that? Because that is really gorgeous. I'd love to have that on my wall back home. It's like stunning, okay?
Yeah.
And they said 1.5, and I'm thinking 15 million dong? I'm thinking,
Yeah.
no, 1.5. I'm going, and I said, can you show me on your phone calculate? Can you show me on the phone the numbers?
Yeah.
It was 1,500,000.
Yeah.
Now, how much is 1,500,000? I got to provide that, but
Yeah.
it's not a lot.
No, that's probably $40.
Should have bought it.
Yeah,
Should have bought it.
There's a
I don't
lot
know
of
how I
stuff
get it
like
home,
that.
but I should have bought it.
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of stuff like that, and I don't buy stuff. I got rid
Well,
of.
because you're traveling around.
Yeah, and I'm down to one suitcase and a
You don't
backpack.
have anything in Hawaii anymore, right?
No, I gave everything or sold everything.
So
Sold
are
my
you
Jeep and my
retired?
motor. I don't know. I thought I was, but I'm spending more than I trade stock options, and
Oh,
the
interesting.
way I do it is it works, but it's like when it works, I make a lot of money, and when it doesn't,
Okay.
I still make
so
money, but not very
we have a
much.
guy here in Dubagetti, Kevin Tucker.
Oh, I
nice
saw his
friend.
video.
And he does the insurance on stock options.
Yeah,
he
he's
does
selling puts.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and that's what he's doing. Okay,
Yeah, that's how I
and
start,
He's,
yeah.
And he's getting it's pretty safe until you own the stock. Okay, but or own the option. Okay,
Yeah.
you have to buy the option at a certain point sometimes. Okay,
Yeah, that's actually what I do is they call it the theta gang or the wheel strategy.
that's what he
Yeah.
calls it, the wheel
Yeah.
strategy.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I do.
If you're going to be
all
for
my
any
money.
length of time, there's lots of guys that would like to talk to you.
Yeah.
And seriously, because he's helped out several people here,
Yeah.
and they're all making money.
Yeah.
I don't have time to fool with it right
No,
now.
it's
I'm too
easy.
busy.
Dude,
I know
if
it's
I
easy.
can do
but-
it, anybody can do it.
Yeah,
So-
that's what they all say. I have
Yeah.
I have a good friend. He's 72 years old, and he says I'm making money, extra few $100s every month. And
Yeah.
he's only just started it.
Yeah, yeah, it works. I mean, it's one of those. As long as you don't go in like a leverage fund or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Don't get
heavy into-
greedy.
Yeah, though that's the problem. When you get greedy or needy, that's when that's when you end up owning 800 shares of Visa, and because you cost average down twice or three times. So I don't know anybody that dumb.
So I did stock options, but I actually did calls. I actually purchased the options.
Oh yeah,
I played swing trade.
Yeah.
So I'd own them for anywhere from a week to 2 or 3 months.
okay.
Okay. There's also day trade, which
Yeah.
is too much for
You're
me.
gambling.
I can't handle it.
Yeah.
You can make it, you can break it, you
Yeah.
can lose a fortune in a minute
Yeah.
a day. Okay. I mean, it's too much pressure for me. But swing trade was a lot less pressure, and I did very well at swing trading.
Yeah. Are you doing? There's a couple ways to do it. One, you do a spread. When it drops down, you do a
butterfly?
Yeah, you can do a butterfly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another one.
You can buy and sell. You mean the same stock, or you do?
Yeah.
I just put in stop sales.
Okay.
So I protected
Yeah.
my position. Unfortunately, when you do, I did automatic sales too. But the problem with that is you don't really want to. If they go,
Yeah.
you don't want to get out of it. And you put in an automatic sale,
Yeah.
that could limit your profit.
Yep.
But I definitely limited my losses.
Yeah.
So I put in stop sales, automatic stop sales.
Yeah.
I didn't do puts so much, mostly calls.
Yeah. So mathematically, a protected or a cash secured put and a covered call is the same thing mathematically.
Okay.
So if you do, it's the same thing as if you do a credit put sale or a credit put spread and a debit call spread.
Okay.
It's mathematically the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So you
And-
protect yourself.
Yeah, and you limit your loss or you limit your risk either
You
way.
also limit your profit.
Yeah, you do.
That's
And-
the cost of having insurance.
Yeah, when I started doing that, I made all the mistakes that early option traders make. Every one.
Well,
of them I
everybody.
did.
That's a learning curve.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for 11 years and 9 of them successfully. But
No, I liked it, but I did it when I was in the States, so I had to get up at before 6 a.m. and I was in the West Coast.
Yeah.
And I'm trading in New York, so I had to get up very early, and then I still had a business that
Oh,
started
yeah.
around 9 or 10 o'clock. So the problem time, I'm already 4 hours, 5 hours, okay, working, and now I start a full-time business of buying precious metals. Got to be too many hours,
Yeah.
okay? Even though it's Monday through Friday, even though it's a swing, you don't have to watch it constantly. You get notices on your phone, too.
Yeah.
So I liked it. It was fun. I made money.
Yeah.
But then gold shot up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is when gold just started breaking 500, going to over 1,000,
Yep.
and it got too big. I made too much money. You have to go with whatever makes you the most money.
Right.
But maybe the most money was precious metals.
Yeah.
So I went full time on that.
Yeah. That's,
And I haven't done it in a lot of years now, so
Yeah.
I don't remember that much of it.
yeah. It's.
So that's cool. So you can do that anywhere you have a computer or laptop.
Yeah. Yeah. I bought an overpowered laptop for the trip, and it's
Just need good internet service.
yeah.
That's a problem here in
Yeah.
Dubagetti.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, I work 7 minutes a week on it.
Okay.
I'm very, very strict on what I do and my plan, and it works. It keeps me from getting, as soon as you start thinking you know something, you're gonna get hosed.
Yeah.
And
See, I do lives, and with the lives, I had to learn a lot of things about everything, electronics and everything. I didn't know anything. I didn't ever own a laptop till I got it.
Jeez.
I didn't own a laptop 1 year ago, okay,
Yeah.
period. Okay, so I didn't even know how to turn one on. So not only did I need a laptop, but I needed cameras, I needed sound system, but I also needed internet service, okay? Internet service was horrible here.
Yeah.
And it took me a few months to figure out. So I had to pay them to put in fiber optic
Oh,
because I didn't have the bandwidth. I didn't have the. I couldn't go live, and it would be cutting off in the middle.
Yeah.
So it just was. It's a learning curve, like everything else, learning curve. So I wasted a lot of time and money in the first 3 or 4 months trying to figure out what's going wrong.
Yeah.
Then I needed a sound system to separate it out for the laptop because the laptop couldn't process the video and the sound. It was too much for this laptop. And here in the Philippines, you can't get an HP printer. You can get it from the States, but the really good ones, they won't ship over here. I don't know why.
Oh, there aren't good HP printers anymore.
Well,
that used to be
laptops.
Oh, HP laptops.
Laptops,
Yeah.
not printers, but a laptop. I wanted a Dell. They don't have Dell. They don't have HP. They don't have brand. They have Japanese, Chinese type stuff.
Okay.
But and you get one that has a processor that will process everything and video board. They don't have it here.
Yeah.
And they won't ship it here, even through Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, you can't get a quality product. So the way to get around it is if you have somebody going into the States, they buy it for you, okay, and bring it back.
Yeah.
You have it shipped to their home.
Yeah.
Or you have a Balak Beyond box. You have somebody, you buy a few things, you just throw it in. You don't want it to be new. You got to take it out of the box and put it in the thing and hope that nobody steals it. But put it in your Balak Beyond box and pay $150 and get the Balak Beyond box shipped here.
Okay.
But it's very difficult to get something decent unless you go to the U.S. yourself and buy it. Yeah.
Huh. That's wild here.
So I bought the best I could get here.
Yeah.
And it's overpriced here, to be honest with you. I think electronics are overpriced here. I don't know why. Electronics are cheaper in the U.S. Really good electronics are cheaper in the U.S.
Yeah.
And you can't get really, really good electronics here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a problem. And then they tax you.
Yeah.
Anything over $200, you get taxed.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, like I said, I was in IT for 27 years, and I left. I bought an Alienware, Dell Alienware. I literally Googled what's the most powerful laptop because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to get into, if I was going to be a gamer or...
So you're semi-retired, you're traveling.
Yeah.
You're going to be here for a few months?
I'm going to be here for a month. I might go back to work shortly just because like I said, I'm not making as much as I spent over the last, year and 9 months that I've been theoretically
what
retired.
age again?
54.
54. So you're not really retirement age. You're not getting Social Security.
No.
Will you get it?
Yeah.
You will get it? Okay.
Yeah, I hope so. I've been paying into it for so long.
Yeah, you do have to pay into it.
I got a letter when I was 29 saying, you have contributed the max required to collect the maximum amount of Social Security. And I'm like,
okay.
Great. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how many quarters, but there's so many quarters you have to pay into it. I can't remember. I think it's 10 years, so I think it's 40 quarters.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And once you pay in 40 quarters, then they take a formula to take the top 20 of the quarters that you have and do a mathematical decision and decide how much you're going to get of your own money back.
Yeah. I did
that they taxed.
I did a look at that, and if you take, and this is math geek horrible, but if you take the average salary over the last, say, 30 years, say you only work 30 years, and everybody I know has worked more than 30 years by the time they retire, and you take the 12% because you get 6 from you and 6 from the company, and you just assume, a 7%
compounded interest rate?
Compounded interest rate. You'd be making like $50,000 a month. I don't remember if it was $50,000, but it was way, 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 way more.
Yeah.
And then you step that down to like 5%, which, I mean,
Social Security
5%.
is a good idea, but you're not really getting back what you put in if you count the amount of years it is.
Not a chance.
Okay.
It's
and then they could raise the age too.
Yeah.
I was supposed to get money at 55, and then they went to 62, and then the full thing was 65, and then they went to 66 in so many months.
Wow. Yeah.
They've raised it several times, and they're probably going to go to 70.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
I don't know what full is now. I think it's 66, or it might be 70 for me.
Goes on based on your birth date.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a 72 baby, so whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that I have 401ks and IRAs that I've been contributing to.
Good. That's good.
And,
so you have backups.
Yeah, 59 and a half is when you can get that. So I got 4 years, and hopefully As long as I don't croak, then if it does, then my brother's going to be happy. But he's crappy.
Do you
with
travel
money.
with insurance? You get health insurance?
I have insurance. I have U.S. insurance. I'm actually, I'm probably going to cancel it because $800 a month. And
Ouch.
yeah, and it's like, and it's in Hawaii, so I have to like fly to Hawaii to use insurance.
Oh, no.
So I'm like,
they won't cover you here?
well, they will, but then you got to pay out of pocket, and then you got to submit the form and everything. And I'm just like, I'm relatively healthy. I just had my blood labs done. That's another thing in Hawaii. Getting your blood. I'm sorry, in Hawaii, in Vietnam, I got my blood labs done, and it was just in and out in a day.
Yeah,
And,
Thailand too. Very inexpensive. Best
Yeah.
medical was Thailand.
Yeah, that's. I actually was going to get my teeth done in Thailand just to whiten them, and then I got to. They're not really cavities. They're what do you call it? The caps that are supposed to be redone every so often or whatever.
Not porcelain caps.
No, not caps. What am I thinking? Oh, geez, this is how much I know about the dental industry.
It's okay. If
But,
you need a good dentist, I know one here that will give you Philippine prices.
Really?
There are also dentists here when you walk in, they're going to give you white man prices.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was quoted 60. What I needed was somewhere between 50 and 60,000 pesos. That's $1,000, say. And I found a dentist here that did the whole thing for 1,200 pesos.
Nice.
What they would have done for 50 to 60,000.
Yeah,
In fact, they charged me just to take the X-rays. More than that, they charged me 1,350 pesos for the X-rays, and then when they started telling me how much it was going to cost, I'm going, "Oh, I'm in the wrong place."
Yeah.
Okay.
that's-
Should have known when the name was Mercedes Dental. should have been a clue.
Yeah, it's like, are the dancers here named Mercedes? Because it's going to be expensive.
Did you name yourself Mercedes because you're high priced? I don't know.
Yeah.
They were pretty high priced.
Yeah.
I went to another dental place, and they took the X-rays, and they charged me only 500 pesos.
Oh, jeez.
But they said, okay, well, you need to either have you may have a cavity, you need to have it. You need to have, what do they call it? Root canal?
Oh, root canal, yeah.
Root canal, or you're going to have it pulled. Okay, well, which one do you recommend? This is, well, we don't do either. I'm sorry. I went to a dentist and made an appointment, and I'm paying you for X-rays, and you don't do root canals or pull a tooth. She goes, no, we can't do that here. We don't have. They never say we don't know. They never say that. We just don't do that here.
Yeah, I noticed.
Well, what do you do here? Oh, we do teeth cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice, and you guys actually warned about the skin tax, and it's real, and I get it.
But it's real everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere you go.
I care. It's real in the U.S.
Yeah.
If you're, because I lived in Vegas and I drove. Let's see, what's it called? Uber.
Yeah.
So I drove Uber, and I was going to say Grab, but it's Uber in the U.S. I've been here too long. So I drove Uber, and honestly, it happens in the U.S. too.
Yeah.
They'll take the long way home.
Yeah. You
Different
get that.
games they play, you know.
Yeah, I know when I landed here in Dumaguete, the guy. I mean, you're only going to get scammed if you accept being scammed. I mean, it's not a voluntary, or it is a voluntary thing. So,
Well, while you're here, you're going to. Are you taking? Well, you rented a bike for me. Before
Yeah.
that, did you have? You used. They don't have a Grab in Dumaguete.
Yeah.
But they have a Grab, but it's on motorbikes.
Yeah.
Actually, they do have Grab now. They do have
they have
Grab for
trikes.
scooters.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're trikes.
Yeah.
Grab. They don't have taxis here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll get ripped off a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah,
I'm sure you did.
well, they attempted to. They
Especially at the airport and at the mall.
Yeah, they said 1,000. I said, well, where are you going? I said Subaland or whatever, and they said okay. And I go, well, how much is this? Because I wasn't going to get in. I'm not dumb. I just look like this, so I'm just
look like this.
I said, well, how much is it? And he goes, 1,000 pesos. And I went, yeah, it's 3K or maybe
Okay.
4K. And I was like, no. And I got out, and he said, well, 700 pesos. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And
That's ridiculous.
a
couple hundred would be a lot.
And I could tell as soon as he said it, when you look at somebody in the eye, you know they're scamming you. And it's like, okay, I get it. Big American guy.
I couldn't figure out the money. You're used to changing money because you went to different countries. So
Yeah.
you're used to, but for me, I just went from, I went from Mexico to here, and they're both pesos, but it was confusing because they're both pesos.
Oh.
Okay, one was 18 to 20 pesos
Yeah.
to the dollar, and here when I got here it was around 50 to 55 pesos to the dollar.
Yeah.
I got confused. So the guy said 800 pesos from the airport to my hotel. I'm going, does that sound right? I mean, And meanwhile, he's throwing my suitcases in his car. He's not waiting around. He throws it was a van. And I'm going, oh, what the hell? I'll figure about, I'm tired. It came in late at night. It was dark. Oh, screw it. He's here now. I'm just going to take it. Forget it.
Yeah.
And then the next day I figured out, he got me for at least 3 times, 4 times what it should have been.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, you can't really blame them. They're not forcing you anything. It's an agreement.
I just look at it like I paid American price, $16 or so.
Yeah, it's like
to make it to for he was only about 2 or 3 miles
Yeah.
distance from the airport to my hotel.
Yeah.
Because when he said we're here, I'm going, this has been 5 minutes. We're talking about 800 pesos,
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't have meters.
No. Yeah, I noticed that because I have taken a number of trikes, and I've taken a jeepney, and I took the bus from Subalan to Dumaguete, and it was there's a really sweet lady. She was a little bit annoyed because I didn't know what's going on, but then I think she was annoyed that I didn't know, but she taught me she was so sweet about it. She said, okay, where are you going? And she like, everybody speaks English, but it's not quite English. It's, and then I have to ask, and I feel like such a jackass when I have to ask 2 or 3 times, but
actually they like helping you here.
Yeah, they do. And she was a little annoyed that I didn't know what I was doing, but she was so helpful. And then when we took to the station, to the terminal station, the bus terminal station, she said, well, where are you going now? And I said, well, I'm going to try to go to this mall. And she goes, which one? And I was like,
there's more than one? I didn't know.
Yeah. I just kept hearing that it was Robinson's is where I was
That's the main one.
And I had to buy something, and plus I wanted to, everybody keeps talking about it. So.
It's the only damn mall we have here. I mean, there's other malls, but they're not. One's one story. Literally, it's level ball, city ball. Okay, there's only a handful of stores, and it's pretty small. And the other one's 3 stories, but it's real skitty, and you don't have a whole lot, so it's real skitty. Okay, and you have half a dozen stores on each side on 3 different floors.
Okay.
It's no wings. Like, you're not going to make a left or right or big openings. There's no big openings. So the only decent real mall is the Robinson's Mall here.
Yeah. I've been to the city and I've been to Robinson's, and I haven't been to the mystery third one.
Yeah, it's right on the ocean in Cebulan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or north. It's really North Point, they call it.
Oh, yeah. I had dinner with somebody in North Point.
Casa, or maybe you went to... No, I'm not going to think of it. Cafe Racer?
No, I went to...
Lantau?
It was they served ribs. It was very quiet, very small place. But it was good. I mean, it was solid. And then I think it was 1,000 pesos for 2. And I got a full thing, and she got a half one. But it was still good.
So you're meeting girls here, too?
Yeah.
All right.
They're pretty friendly.
They're a little too friendly, huh? Problem is they're very possessive here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's like...
Once they find you and they know you're available, they're not going to let anybody else get in.
Yeah.
Okay? They want to know what you're doing, where you're going. If you're not with them, they want to know who's with you.
Yeah.
Loaded question.
It's not bad, though. I mean, they're nice. I try not to mislead anybody. I tell everybody, look, I'm here for 30 days. And... maybe 60 days, but it's probably going to be 30. And it's like, we're not getting married next week. And, I try to be straight up with them, but it's kind of strange.
You go out with them one time, they're a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Kind of shocker.
Yeah.
And there's like 20 girls for every one guy.
Yeah. And
so it's hard to choose one because there's so many other fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Okay? It's kind of difficult because... it's hard to make a choice because you don't really know them right away.
Yep.
But they want to lock in and be the only one.
Yeah.
They don't date like we date in the U.S.
I got a theory on that. So, like, if you have a retirement of like 30 grand, right? So, as I understand, here the average salary is like $5 grand a year.
Okay, a year.
Yeah, a year. If you're making 30 grand, back in the States, the average salary is 80 grand a year. So, if you're making 6 times what the average salary is, that's like making $480,000 back in the States. If you make $480,000 back in the States, women are going to be pretty pursuing you pretty well if they know it. So
yeah, but I grew up in Vegas. That happened anyway.
Yeah,
they actually pursued the married men. They wanted to see a wedding ring.
Yeah, well, that's a strange thing about the U.S. There's a lot of them that love. This is kind of when I used to be a hound. I used to have a fake wedding ring that I used to wear, and it works. It works so well.
Yeah, because if
For
you don't
certain
have a
types
ring,
of
they don't
women.
want to be with you because you're going to get attached.
Yeah,
They don't want you to get attached.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the
I'm
minute
not-
you say, I'm leaving my wife, let's go get married, they're gone.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I never experienced that, but I did experience of somebody told me that, and I bought one, and it works. I mean, it's a certain type of woman, though. I mean, they're out there. Oh, wow, married guy, and let me see if I can do something, destroy his life. And
This is his life. Well, Vegas, they used to have a lot of transient people. A lot of girls come in from all over the world.
Oh yeah,
They're gorgeous.
yeah,
They're Swedish girls. I mean, they're just gorgeous. They're all gorgeous, but they all want to be escorts.
yeah,
Okay, and you need to buy them stuff.
yeah,
Okay, you go shopping, they're going to spend the money,
Yeah.
your money.
yeah.
Okay, they like to be taken out,
Yeah.
and but they're not going to go with like here they'll go. You wonder how some of these guys get girls because they're kind of over the hill
Yeah,
on their last leg.
yeah,
They're gray, bald,
Hey, man.
wrinkled, fat. With a walking stick or a cane,
Yeah.
and they get girls here like that. It's
Yeah.
just 20-year-old girls.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. I mean, it's not gonna work out.
Well, for her.
Well, maybe for both of them for a while,
Yeah,
but it's not gonna be long term.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what
It's-
they're thinking, but it's kind of. I was just talking about that with somebody else. It's basically like when we try to relive our youth and we get Ferraris or if we have the money for a Ferrari, or we get what is that? A Malibu or not a Malibu, like a Mustang. We get a
Yeah,
Mustang.
yeah.
We'll get a Mustang or a Corvette even. We
Oh,
can
yeah.
afford a Corvette. Oh, we're young and
Yeah.
put the top down and yeah. But that's a poor man's expensive thing when he gets older. He's
Yeah.
going to buy a Corvette.
midlife crisis.
Yes, it is.
I always wanted a Corvette.
Yeah, of
And
course.
When I got in the position to where I could buy a Corvette, I bought a Jeep Rubicon. So they're, and I don't know, but that was always my dream. And then I drove one, and I'm a little bit too big. And it's funny, my old roommate in the Marine Corps, he's very successful, and his dream was to own a Ferrari. And he told me when we were in together, and I think we were like filling sandbags, doing some stupid, pathetic thing, and he said, one day I'm going to drive my Ferrari to the airport and fly to work. And I was like, we're making like $289 every 2 weeks, right? And he goes, wait and see. Fast forward 35 years, we got in contact again, been staying in contact. He finally got his Ferrari. He ordered it. It shipped. He's 6'4", 6'5", right? He doesn't fit in a Ferrari. So he's like, and I was like,
Because of the
"You didn't
tummy or
drive
he's
it?"
tall?
No, he's tall. He's skinny. He's
Tall. Okay.
He's tall. He's 6 foot. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever been in a Ferrari. They're very small.
Oh, they're tight. They're racing. It's a racing vehicle.
Yeah, and he's 6'5", and he's got to drive the thing with the top off, the
Because
top
he
down.
can't see
Yeah.
and the windshield frame is right in his view.
Yeah, yeah, and he's like, oh, it's so stupid. I look like McGilla Gorilla. So then I found, I saw Dolph Lundgren, who's also 6'5". He drives a Ferrari. So we Googled, I called him, I go, hey, let me see what kind he's got. If he's got it set up different or whatever, if he's got different seats. And we found it, and I don't remember the model. I think it's a 611 or something, or 612. So anyway, he goes, oh, great, that's awesome. And he's, he works a lot. So he's obviously, you're working a lot if you own a Ferrari and an airplane. But so he finds one, and for about the same money. It's used. I mean, it's still a Ferrari, but they're used. He's dealing with, 2 to 4 year old cars. He finds one for the same price he can sell his 328, whatever the
Okay.
whole model is. And he's like, yeah, he goes, told the wife, and since he hasn't been driving it because he's too tall, she fits in it perfectly, and she's been driving it. She loves the thing. So he had to buy 2 Ferraris just to get it
Wow.
going, and I was like,
Okay. And it had more room for headroom?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the 6, I think it's a 611, 612, I don't remember.
I'm not a
But,
Ferrari guy, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not either. I just know, it was just such a funny thing. His like lifelong dream was to own a Ferrari. He finally gets one, he's too tall, and I'm like,
Now, did you find a place to stay here?
yeah, I got an Airbnb in
Okay.
Cebulan,
All right.
and it's $311 a month. Yeah,
All right.
It's,
Nice.
I mean, it's not bad. It's right downtown Cebulan. The noise, people were gigging it on the noise in the Airbnb, but I don't find it a problem. And it's got a interior bedroom with a door and the AC, the split unit in there.
Yeah.
And it's good size. The water pressure's a little low, which I don't know if that's normal here. But
certain areas have low water pressure. We did here, but I put in a tank and a pressure booster pump and a bladder tank to create the pressure.
Okay.
I had to add something to build the pressure up.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's not bad, but I'm a pretty low maintenance guy. And I don't need all the bells and whistles and everything. And
Are you going to go to other islands at other cities?
I'm gonna go to Sigihor, Cebu. There's another one around here that you can get to by a ferry. Sigihor, I was gonna go
Bohol?
today. Yeah, I think it's Bohol.
Yeah.
I gotta see on the map because being an IT guy, you just kind of save.
You can go to Mindanao too,
Mindanao?
but there's areas that are good and areas that are not so good in Mindanao that you have to be careful about.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's not
They do have boats that go to Bohol, which is nice, but I didn't like the cities in Bohol. The cities were too crowded and full of Korean. A lot of Koreans go there, and I didn't like it. The other side of Bohol was very nice, Anda, which I've talked about to other guys too. You go to Anda and you get resorts there.
Okay.
One's called Poseidon Resort. Very nice, very quiet, great restaurants, inexpensive, beautiful beaches, swings and hammocks and
nice.
Yeah. Just remember, when you got to go over there, let me know, and I'll tell you. You'll have to rent a bike or a car and drive to the other side. It's 2 or 3 hours to the other side of Bohol, but it's very quiet. It's not a city. It's not dirty. It's very clean and very, very peaceful.
Yeah.
And they're very nice. And you can barbecue. They'll bring the fish out. They have a restaurant there. The guys come out of the ocean with clams and fish and sea urchins, and they'll sell them to you right there.
Nice.
Cheap.
Nice.
Okay. And then in Poseidon, the Poseidon Resort, they bring out everything. They prepare it for you.
Yeah.
You want it, they'll cook it for you, but you can barbecue it. They bring out the charcoal, light it for you.
Oh.
They have little Quonset huts out above the ocean. You can watch the waves, or you can go down on the beaches to the right or left. And
Really?
they have beautiful beaches. It was nice. It was nice. Yeah. They have little Quonset huts. So they have like a studio room with a bathroom, and they have like 8 little cabins. 8 little cabins on the property. It's a big piece of property.
Yeah.
Very nice. And they have a restaurant on site, and then they also have a store that sells snacks and stuff, like a Sorry store.
Okay.
I really liked it. We enjoyed that the most. If I ever went back, I would go there.
Okay.
It was that nice. It was only now this is a couple of years ago, but it was only 1,000 pesos a night, which is not much. $17.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Excuse me.
So, you have wife and kids back home?
No.
Never?
I have one son. This is so Jerry Springer. I found out about him when he was 7. And
Found out about him.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I got a message, and I was like, okay, DNA test. I'm like, I don't know what to say, but I got to say DNA test. And I'm like, put that into a sentence. And
Do you remember his mother?
Yeah, it was just a one
fling
night stand. It was just literally, she knew what she was doing. I knew her from high school, and then she got a hold of me via the internet, and then I used to, I don't know, but I fell for the old, it's my fault. I fell for the old, I can't get pregnant. I was like, oh, okay. 7 years later. Apparently that's psycho language for 7 years later. You got a kid.
Was he mad at you?
No. So she's had 8 kids from 4 different guys. And,
Oh, my goodness.
And all married to the same guy, and that guy's in prison. It's like a Jerry Springer show.
Oh, my God. Okay. All
So
right, we won't go there. But is he a good boy?
Yeah, he's a good-hearted guy, but he's been taught some really bad ways because she's on every bit of the system, and it's just. I got him. He was the only one in his family. I got him to graduate on time with a license, with a job, with a bank account, like all the basic stuff every kid needs. And then I tried to get him to go to college. He didn't want to do that. And then I tried to, okay, well, go get a trade. Plumbers make $80,000-$90,000 a year. I mean, it's good work, and he didn't want to do that.
He didn't have a passion for anything like mechanics,
well,
electrical, plumbing?
He would be interested in stuff, but I think a lot of it was when a kid grows up and he sees everybody around him doesn't work, and then his mom's got this thing of,
It's a real problem.
yeah, it is. And she's got a thing
We
that
can't
everybody
all be on welfare, okay?
Yeah.
Somebody has to pay in. Where's the money coming from?
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad, and she's got this idea that she's ingrained in him that rich people are evil and poor people are good, and he didn't want to become evil, and like he would come over to my house, and I had a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and I had a pool, and it was in a nice neighborhood and everything, and then he goes back to his mom's trailer where there's 3 rooms and all these kids, and I said, well, what do you want to do? You want to live like this or you want to live like that? And he couldn't figure out the answer, and I'm like, oh. So then he finally just said, well, I'm going to go live with Mom. And I said, well, when you figure it out, I'm always going to be here. And he's 26 now, so it's
And he's in the States,
25.
right? So
Yeah, he's in Michigan, yeah. So hopefully he figures it out, and that's why I'm so suspect anytime a woman really approaches me pretty heavily. I'm like, wait, I fell for this once.
not doing this again.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
So, what other traits do you know? Because you've done a couple different things, but
yeah.
When you get a job, you said you might have to get a job, even a real job.
Yeah. I'll go back in IT. It's the only thing anybody's going to pay me
okay.
for. I'm pretty sure OnlyFans is not going to cut the bills. So that's.
And what if you find a girl and you really like her?
There's girls everywhere. I mean, it's.
I know, but I'm saying I'm not going to say a girl. I'm going to say a woman. What if you find a woman here and you really like her?
Yeah, I don't know.
There are really good women here.
Yeah, I see that, and I see people meeting them, and it's like I'll figure that out when I get there. It's nice here, but I've never made a move. I've actually left a couple of relationships because of a job. I'm not
Really? Job
yeah.
over the girl,
Yeah.
over the woman.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is kind of good in the long run, because usually if the job ends, usually the girl runs too. So
But some of the girls, they have jobs, they work.
yeah.
They're willing to hold their own end.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I've only been here for 4 days, but I see a high quality of a higher quality here than I have like in the States by far. As far as
Oh, yeah, they're approachable for one thing.
yeah, they're approachable. You can open a door and not have them scream in your face. I don't need a man to open my door.
You can't deal with that. I can't deal with someone shouting. I can't deal with screaming or shouting or uppity or attitude.
Yeah.
Anything happening. They don't have attitude here.
Yeah, they're pretty nice, and it's kind of like wait a minute, everything's cheap here. The women are nice, and you're like, okay, where's the downside? So
Downside is they're always out of stock of everything you need.
yeah,
Or they think they are, because if they don't know if they have it, which we talked about before also, if they don't know what their inventory, they'll say out of stock.
Yeah.
They don't say, let me go check. They don't say, let me look in the back. They're just, or they didn't understand you. Everything is out of stock. So then you have to look for yourself, because they either don't know what they have in the store, or they don't know how to help you, or they don't know what you asked for. So they don't say, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Or can you show me on your phone? They never do that. I don't know why.
Huh.
They're very shy.
I think that's what happened. I don't remember what I was buying, but they told me they didn't have it, and then I said, okay, thanks, and then I looked, and it's right there. Oh, it was shampoo.
Shampoo?
Yeah.
They probably don't know what shampoo is. Yes. Yeah. I mean, seriously, they have different words for other things. You know, you can say, can I have the check? They don't know what a check is.
Oh, that's...
You have to say, bill out.
Okay, that
Want
happened
a
to me,
Band-Aid?
too.
They don't have Band-Aids here. The Band-Aid's a brand.
A brand?
A brand.
Okay.
Band-Aid's a brand. It's not technically, so they call it something, I don't remember what the hell they call it. They call it something else, a plaster.
Oh,
They call it a plaster. Do you have a plaster? So I went around to 3 or 4 places and asked for Band-Aids, and they're all looking at me, no, I'm sorry, sir, we're out of stock. They didn't say, can you show me a picture? So finally I showed a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I said, this is not working. They must have. And I said, do you have Band-Aids? She says, no. I says, hold on, let me look at it. I showed her. She moves to the left, and right behind her, the whole wall full of, because she says, no, we don't have it. But when I showed her a picture, plasters.
Yeah.
So I was asking for the wrong thing.
Well, hey, that's...
There's just...
that's on you. You got to learn the lingo, even though it's English,
They do have really good hot dogs here, and they have really awful hot dogs here, okay? The Philippine hot dogs, they have 20, 30 different styles in the markets.
Okay.
But if you go in the freezer section and you go to New York, you find New Yorkers.
Okay.
Okay? And they're they're frozen. You
Yeah.
bring them in the frozen. Those taste like something out of at least Chicago,
Okay.
or if not New York. They're
Okay.
decent hot dogs, okay?
Yeah.
But you can't get them in the meat department.
Oh.
Okay. If you ask for filet mignon, they don't know what a filet mignon is, but they
don't
do
say
have.
That broke my heart.
Yeah, you can't. Their meat is tough here.
Yeah.
You can order it a few places. It's not so bad. So Moon Cafe
Okay.
and Cafe Racer have some great filet mignons.
Okay.
Bacon wrapped filet mignons. They're not real big, but they are very good.
Oh,
And the
okay.
price is so cheap, you could order 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
So I think they're like $3.95 and $4.95. They're not real big. They're smaller. I think
Yeah.
maybe 200 gram to 300 gram. They're not real big. But you can order 2 of them, and it's not horrible
Yeah.
because they think spending $10 on it. Spending 1,000 pesos for a meal is not normal.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of money if you're used to a decent filet mignon.
Yeah.
Going to Chris,
Yeah, Ruth Chris.
Ruth Chris, and spending $50. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. It is what it is. So if you really want a filet mignon and you don't want more than one tiny little steak, you go order 2 of them.
Yeah.
You tell them to put them both on one plate.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. It's funny you said Ruth Chris because when I was consulting, that's what I would always go.
Yeah.
That and Morton's is another one that's a good
Yeah.
piece of meat.
Yeah. There's a couple. It's been a long time. In Vegas, they have really nice restaurants.
Yeah,
But
oh, yeah.
whew, pricey.
Yeah.
And Vegas got a lot more pricey since I haven't been back in over 6 years.
Yeah, I've only been there like 23 or 24 times, so I'm not sure if I like going to Vegas.
Recently.
The most recent one was 4 years ago.
Okay, that's not
And it
real.
was-
It's worse now. It's way worse.
Yeah, it wasn't what I remembered. It was after COVID, so
Yeah,
maybe it
everything
was-
changed on COVID.
Really, yeah.
All the freebies disappeared. All the discounts disappeared.
Yeah.
All the free drinks and all that stuff. A lot of it disappeared, and everything is pricey. All the $5 table, chip dot
Yeah,
tables
they're-
disappeared. There's no such thing as they used to have $2 tables. They don't even have.
Yeah.
Everything is more pricey now.
Yeah, I noticed that. I went to Old Downtown the last time I was there to find a $5 table and play it all
Hard.
blackjack. And
Yeah, very hard.
Yeah, and they also tightened the blackjack rules up a lot. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
you used to be able to do like at least pay for your drinks, and then now it's they're like 3 decks max, and the what is it, soft 16, and then it was 3 to 2 for blackjack.
Yeah.
not 2 to 1. And
They don't pay like they used to.
I'm like, what?
A lot of things changed, and
Yeah.
in the last, I wouldn't go back. It's too crowded.
Yeah,
It's not the same.
yeah, and I think they absolutely legalized weed because there's somebody blowing it in your face everywhere.
I mean,
go, so.
they brought in these fancy restaurants. Who's that chef? That's very well known.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they brought in Gordon Ramsay, 5-star.
Yeah.
All these expenses. They started charging $200, $300, $400 for a couple meals. And that's nothing. Okay, so everybody else started doing the same thing, and before you know it, any decent steak house is too pricey.
Yeah.
I used to like Delmonico's. I can't afford that anymore. It's ridiculous.
They had a good. What is the one that looks like Aladdin's castle or something? Aladdin's.
Aladdin.
Yeah, in the upper floor of one of those, they had a prime rib place.
I don't think they have the Aladdin anymore.
Really?
I don't think it's there anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
They used to have a place up there, and if you played at the tables, they would give you like a $200, basically a meal for $200 if you played
Yeah, they don't
long
do-
enough. And
There's no freebies. It's not
Yeah.
the same. It's all about. And I understand it's quite a few people, quite a few less people go there. That it used to be very crowded on the strip. Okay, and now it's not.
yeah, the Strip was a great place to people watch.
Yeah,
It was
I like to
like-
people watch.
Oh man.
And I had a friend who just go up and down and he'd film and
Yeah.
he'd go out at night and that was his thing, filming, and you get all the crazy people out there. And it's blank now. It's
Yeah.
not like it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a shame. But
Yeah.
things change.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Like Disneyland, I would never go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But as I went as a father when I had young kids, and
Yeah.
you can go on rides and you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Now you got to have a ticket and wait.
Yeah.
2-3 hours.
Yeah, and then they got the express ticket, and then everybody got that. So then you can
There's
wait
no
3
set-
hours or 1
yeah,
hour.
It's still ridiculous. And,
Yeah.
and it got expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be under $100 for a whole day,
Yeah.
2 parks.
Yeah.
Now it's hundreds.
Yeah, per
and
person.
And the food's expensive too.
Yeah.
So I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't if I was in the U.S., but
Yeah. Yeah, I'm cheap. I don't do such things. So
Yeah, I'm here to stay. I'm grounded here.
yeah, I don't blame you, man. It's nice here. I've only been here 4 days, and it's quiet, relatively quiet compared to Ho Chi Minh. It's really quiet compared to Bangkok, and that it is not compared to Japan's quiet everywhere. But,
Is it? Bangkok's a bit crowded and slow. Traffic's horrible there.
Yeah, that was.
It's just aggravating. You can walk faster than the cars are moving. You watch bicycle riders just zoom past you, and you can't. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You watch people on the sidewalk; they're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And maybe 15 minutes later, you got to the end of the street.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah, it's crazy. I know when I rented a bike in Vietnam, and they're insane. They just zip through. It's kind of like everybody's kind of doing their own thing.
So there was a lack of lights in anything but the downtown Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
So in District 4, I don't know how it was in 9, but in District 4, there were no street lights.
Yeah.
And they're very wide roads.
Yeah.
Okay, they were very wide, but there's a ton of cycles, and they don't stop for you.
Nope.
So they have a crosswalk, but there's no don't walk signs.
No.
So when you walk, you feel like Froggy, okay?
Yep.
Because you have to watch them, because they'll pass you. A car will go past you at 25, 30 miles an hour, and you can literally reach out and touch it.
Yep.
That's how close they get,
Oh yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's scary.
I rented a motor scooter in Vietnam, and then just seeing them. And the one guy described it to me, because you meet people everywhere you go, and he says it was just like schools of fish. They just kind of go in the same direction. Some are going fast, some are going slow, and nobody's really got the right of way. So it's just kind of
No, it's nuts.
yeah. It's
And then they're parking them all over the sidewalks,
yeah.
blocking the entrance to stores.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
they'll pull up on the wrong side of the road and block the entrance to the store, and
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, I guess it's
you have to
Vietnam,
walk in the
so-
street a lot.
Yeah, you got to walk around, and it's just one of those things where like, well, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
But yeah, it was I don't know, it was still fun. It was great. I definitely go back to Da Nang and Hoi An and Hoi An.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a few places I like to go. I'd like to go back.
Yeah,
All right, so we're on here for, oh my God, an hour.
I kept you babbling for an hour, Mr.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Finger.
Yeah. So I want to appreciate you coming up on here and giving some people your story. Every person has a story.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you an ebook because I know you didn't get one.
Yeah, I never saw you
Yeah,
mention
right.
an ebook
Never- I bet you
ever in
never
any did. video.
No, you really never got one, did you? You never
Yeah, I
asked. Did you?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
Yeah, I skimmed it. I skimmed past the part because it's geared for people that are going to move here.
I haven't traveled.
Yeah.
And you've traveled a lot.
Yeah, and I've traveled a lot.
It is geared for newbies, and
Yeah.
it's for like 3 months before you get here and 3 or 4 months after you're here.
Yeah.
Well, it's not for someone who's traveled a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to think I'm well traveled, but I also do stupid
After
stuff.
you've done it
so-
a few times, it gets pretty easy.
Yeah.
You already know what to expect.
Yeah, sometimes I can't find the key to my to the lockbox on the motorcycle that I rented.
Yeah, the top box.
Yeah, the top
that's
box.
what actually brought you over here back here. And I roped you into here. Yeah, you were looking for the key for the top box, but you had it already. I'm going,
Yeah.
really? You should have a key on there.
Yeah, I'm like-
Then when you showed me I said, show me your key. You said, yeah, you have one.
Yeah, well,
Carolyn did show you how to open or close it.
She
So-
didn't, but she said something, and I said, "Yeah, I know," and I thought that meant it's the auxiliary key when the distance one wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where I was more arrogant than I was smart. So
All right. Well, I'll show you how to. There's a trick to open in some of them too. There's 2 buttons on either side, not one. And sometimes it's underneath.
Yeah.
So we'll have to show you that.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate being here. I'm going to let the girls say bye.
That's my Goldfinger.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. And be sure to ring that bell so you'll be notified when I post another video. See you then.